Life has a way of testing us when we least expect it. It throws storms in our path, shuts doors we thought were open, and sometimes makes us question whether our dreams are even worth fighting for. But here's the truth. Every successful story, every breakthrough moment, every life-changing victory comes from one simple decision, the decision to never give up. Life has an interesting way of teaching us its greatest lessons. It rarely whispers them to us in moments of comfort. Instead, it delivers them through storms, setbacks, and seasons of pain. Adversity is not the enemy we imagine it to be. It is, in fact, the silent mentor shaping our character, sharpening our resilience, and molding us into the person we need to become to handle the success we dream about. When life is easy, when everything is going our way, we learn very little about ourselves. Comfort teaches us nothing about our limits, our courage, or our capacity to endure. It is only when the winds change, when plans collapse, when doors shut in our faces, that we begin to discover the strength lying dormant inside us. Think about it, the people who inspire you the most, whether they are leaders, innovators, or everyday heroes, rarely have smooth stories. Their journeys are filled with rejections, financial struggles, heartbreaks, and moments when quitting felt like the only option. Yet they pressed forward. Why? Because adversity forced them to look within themselves and uncover abilities they didn't even know they had. Life's toughest battles have a strange way of awakening our hidden potential. When the path is easy, we stroll through it without thinking much. But when the path is filled with obstacles, we are forced to grow stronger, think smarter, and fight harder. Adversity is also life's way of separating the interested from the committed. Anyone can be enthusiastic when things are simple, when the results come quickly, when applause follows every effort. But when the road becomes rough, when progress is slow, when support disappears and criticism takes its place, that is when true character is revealed. The person who keeps moving despite the pain, the rejection, the loneliness, this is the person life rewards in the end. Adversity asks a simple question: do you want this badly enough? And only those who answer with action rather than words ever cross the finish line. Some people curse adversity. They ask, why me? Why now? But what they don't realize is that every setback carries within it the seed of strength. When you are rejected from a job you wanted so badly, it might be because life is redirecting you towards something bigger. When you lose money in a business, it might be because life is teaching you lessons about strategy and risk that no classroom ever could. When relationships break apart, it may hurt deeply, but those moments teach you about love, patience, trust, and sometimes about your own worth in ways nothing else can. Adversity may feel like punishment, but often it is preparation. And here is the truth most people miss: you do not become strong after the storm is over. You become strong in the middle of it. When you wake up every day unsure how things will turn out, but choose to keep going anyway, you are building resilience. When life says, no, but you keep fighting for your yes, you are developing courage. When circumstances break your heart, but you refuse to let them break your spirit, you are training your mind to rise above defeat. The power of a clear vision. If there is one thing that separates those who keep going when life gets hard from those who give up too soon, it is the clarity of their vision. A clear vision is not just a dream you write down in a notebook or talk about with friends when you feel motivated. It is a picture of your future so vivid, so alive, so real in your mind that it gives you strength even when everything around you is falling apart. Vision is what keeps you moving when results are slow to come. It is what whispers to you when the world is shouting for you to quit. It is the reason you refuse to surrender, because deep down, you know where you are going, even if no one else sees it yet. Without vision, challenges feel meaningless. The first sign of trouble makes people throw their hands up and walk away because they cannot see beyond the current storm. But when you have a clear vision, you understand that storms are temporary, that pain is a passage, not a prison, and that every difficulty is part of the road leading to your destination. Vision gives meaning to your struggle. It transforms obstacles into lessons and failures into fuel, because you know this is not the end. It is just part of the process shaping you for what lies ahead. Think about a builder constructing a skyscraper. Before the first brick is laid, there is a blueprint. Without that plan, the building would collapse under the weight of confusion and guesswork. Life works the same way. Your vision is the blueprint for your future. Without it, you drift, chasing distractions, jumping from one idea to another. never finishing anything because you have no picture of what the final result should look like. But with a clear vision, every step, no matter how small or painful, takes you closer to the reality you see so clearly in your heart and mind. And here is the powerful truth. People without vision often depend on the approval of others to keep going. The moment they face rejection or criticism, they stop because their motivation was built on applause rather than purpose. But when your vision is strong, you do not need external validation. You do not wait for everyone to believe in you. You understand that people may doubt you now because they cannot see what you see. You are the one carrying the picture, the dream, the possibility, and it is your responsibility to protect it, nurture it, and keep walking toward it even when the crowd disappears. History is full of people who were laughed at because their vision seemed impossible. Innovators, leaders, dreamers. They were told their ideas were crazy, their goals unrealistic, their dreams too big. Yet they held onto their vision when no one else did, and because of that, they turned impossibilities into realities. What made the difference? It was not luck, not perfect timing, not even extraordinary talent. It was the unshakable clarity of a vision that burned so brightly inside them it could not be extinguished by failure, rejection, or fear. When you have a clear vision, discipline becomes easier because you are no longer living for the moment, you are living for the future you can already see. Sacrifices stop feeling like losses because you understand what you are building. Temporary pain becomes bearable because you know it is leading to permanent growth. The clearer the vision, the stronger the fight inside you becomes, turning failures into fuel failure. It is a word that makes many people feel defeated before they even begin. From a young age, we are taught to avoid it, to fear it, to see it as the end of the road. Yet when you study the lives of those who have achieved extraordinary things, you quickly notice a common theme: they failed, often and painfully, before they ever succeeded. The difference is, they did not let failure define them. They used it to refine them. They learned to turn failure into fuel. You see, failure is not the opposite of success. It is the process of success. Every time life knocks you down, it is offering you something priceless: feedback, wisdom, and experience. But here is where most people go wrong. They take failure personally. They think a failed business means they are not capable of building one. They think a broken relationship means they are unworthy of love. They think rejection from one opportunity means they will never be good enough for any opportunity. That is not true. Failure is never a verdict on your worth. It is simply information about your strategy. It is life saying, not this way, try another. Think about the first time you learned to ride a bicycle. You fell, scraped your knees, maybe even cried. Did you give up? No, you got back on because you knew the only way to ride was to keep trying. As children, we understood failure was part of learning. But as adults, pride gets in the way. We become afraid of looking foolish, of being judged, of trying and not succeeding. Yet the people who achieve great things are not the ones who avoid failure. They are the ones who keep moving through it again and again until success has no choice but to appear. Failure also humbles us in a way nothing else can. When you fail, you start to see the value of preparation, persistence, and patience. You learn to appreciate the success that comes later because you know the price you paid to reach it. Failure strips away arrogance and replaces it with resilience. It teaches you to be resourceful, to think differently, to find solutions you never would have considered if everything had gone according to plan. And here is the beauty of it: some of your greatest breakthroughs will come directly from your failures. The job you lost might push you towards starting the business you were too afraid to launch. The idea that didn't work might lead you to the one that changes everything. The relationship that ended might teach you self-worth and boundaries, preparing you for the love you truly deserve. But this only happens if you choose to see failure as a teacher, not a tragedy. Many people quit after failing because they expect success to be quick and easy. But the truth is, failure is like the gym for your mind and spirit. Just as lifting weights tears your muscles so they can grow back stronger, failure tears your comfort zone so your resilience can expand. Each setback is making you tougher, wiser, more determined. And when the victory finally comes, it will taste sweeter because you know the struggle behind it. The most successful people you admire today, they have chapters of failure in their story, chapters they rarely talk about as much as the success. But those chapters were necessary. Without them, there would be nothing to build character, no reason to grow, no push to innovate or improve. Consistency over talent. One of the biggest myths people believe about success is that it belongs to the most talented. They think only the smartest, the most gifted, the most naturally skilled rise to the top. But life has proven this wrong again and again. The truth is, talent might open the first door, but it is consistency that keeps the door open long enough for success to walk in. Talent is a spark, but consistency is the fire that keeps burning when the spark fades. Look around, and you will see this clearly. The world is full of talented people who never reached their potential because they relied too heavily on talent and gave up when things got hard. On the other hand, you will also find countless ordinary people with no extraordinary gifts who achieved greatness simply because they refused to stop showing up. They showed up when they were tired. They showed up when they failed. They showed up when nobody clapped for them, when nobody believed in them, when the results were invisible. Consistency does not demand perfection, it demands persistence. Talent is exciting at the beginning. It brings quick results, fast praise, early recognition. But what happens when the journey stretches longer than you expected? What happens when the applause fades, when progress slows, when you hit your first major wall? Talent often gets impatient and walks away. But consistency keeps showing up brick by brick, day after day, building what talent alone could never finish. Think of it this way: success is rarely one big leap. It is 1,000 small steps taken repeatedly. It is waking up early to practice when no one is watching. It is studying when others are sleeping. It is putting in the work even when motivation disappears. Talent is about moments, but consistency is about habits. And it is habits, not moments, that build empires, write books, compose symphonies, launch businesses, and change lives. The danger with relying solely on talent is that it creates a sense of entitlement. People start believing that because they are gifted, success should come easily. So when life tests them, and life always tests us, they crumble because they have never built the muscle of persistence. Consistency, on the other hand, teaches patience. It teaches you to endure the slow seasons, the silent seasons, the seasons when nothing seems to be working. It gives you the strength to keep planting seeds, even when the soil looks barren, because you believe the harvest will come if you don't quit. And here's the part most people overlook: consistency builds trust, not only with others, but with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you show up when you said you would, you prove to your own mind that you can be counted on. This creates confidence, the kind that cannot be shaken by external circumstances, because it is built on discipline rather than emotion. When you trust yourself to stay consistent, you stop fearing failure because you know you will rise and try again no matter what. History celebrates talent, but it remembers consistency. The athletes who break records are not always the most gifted. They are the ones who trained relentlessly. The entrepreneurs who build world-changing companies are not always the smartest. They are the ones who refuse to quit during the countless setbacks no one else saw. Talent might make you popular for a moment, but consistency makes you legendary for a lifetime. Rejection and criticism, two words that carry enough weight to crush the spirit of even the most determined person if they are not prepared. From the moment we step out to chase a dream, to build a business, to write a book, to pursue a career, or to create something meaningful, we will face them both. People will doubt us. Some will laugh. Others will tell us it will never work. Doors will slam in our faces. Opportunities we prayed for will be given to someone else. And the first instinct most people have is to shrink back, to question themselves, to start believing maybe they are not good enough. But here is the truth: rejection and criticism are not signs you should stop. They are signs you are in the game, moving forward, daring to do something worth noticing. Every person who has ever achieved anything meaningful has a long history with rejection. Writers whose manuscripts were turned down dozens of times before becoming bestsellers. Entrepreneurs whose ideas were dismissed as foolish before turning into multi-million-dollar companies. Leaders who were doubted and criticized before changing the course of history. If they had taken rejection personally, if they had believed every negative voice, the world would never have known their contributions. Rejection does not define you. It refines you. It forces you to look at what went wrong, to improve, to adjust, and to grow stronger than you were before. The problem is that many people see rejection as a reflection of their worth, when in reality, it is often just redirection. Sometimes the job you lost was never meant to be part of your destiny. Sometimes the investor who said no was clearing the path for someone better aligned with your vision. Sometimes the criticism you receive is the mirror showing you where to sharpen your skills. When you begin to see rejection not as a wall, but as a compass pointing you towards something better, it loses its power to discourage you. Criticism, too, can either destroy you or develop you, depending on how you handle it. Some criticism is noise, opinions from people who have never built anything, never risked anything, never stepped into the arena. Their words carry no weight because they have no experience. But some criticism is valuable. It is feedback from people who see blind spots you might have missed, areas where you can grow, mistakes you can avoid next time. The wisest people know how to separate the two. They ignore the noise but study the lessons. They let go of the insults but hold on to the insights. Here is the secret. Rejection and criticism will never stop coming, no matter how successful you become. In fact, the higher you rise, the louder they get. But when you learn to embrace them instead of fear them, they lose the power to break you. Instead of running from them, you start to welcome them because you understand they are part of the process shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. What most people call failure is often just feedback in disguise. What they call rejection is often redirection toward a better opportunity. What they call criticism is often the training ground for greatness. And when you stop letting these things wound your spirit, when you stop giving them the power to control your decisions, you become unstoppable because nothing anyone says or does can take away your determination to keep moving forward. Confidence is not something life hands you when everything goes right. It is something you build inside yourself when everything seems to be going wrong, yet you decide to stand tall anyway. It is not about walking into a room believing you will never fail. It is about walking into a room knowing that even if you do fail, you will rise again, stronger and wiser than before. Real confidence is born in the middle of storms, not in the safety of calm waters. So many people believe they need validation from others to feel confident. They wait for compliments, recognition, or approval before they believe in themselves. But here's the truth: if your confidence depends on the opinions of others, it will vanish the moment criticism shows up. External approval is temporary. Internal belief is unshakable. The kind of confidence that changes your life comes from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and refusing to let setbacks define your worth. Confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself. Think about it: every time you set a goal and stick to it, even when no one is watching, you send a message to your own mind that you can be trusted. When you say, "I will wake up early tomorrow," and you do it, your brain registers that you follow through. When you say, "I will finish this project," and you keep going until it's done, you strengthen your belief in your own reliability. Slowly, without realizing it, you build an unshakable trust in yourself. That trust is confidence. It does not come from what people say about you. It comes from proving to yourself, again and again, that you are capable. The most confident people you will ever meet are not those who never failed. They are the ones who refuse to let failure convince them to stop trying. They are not the ones who never doubted themselves. They are the ones who kept moving forward, even while doubting. Confidence is not the absence of fear or insecurity. It is the decision to act despite them. Every time you take action in the presence of fear, you weaken its control over you. Every time you push through self-doubt and do the thing anyway, your confidence grows another layer thicker, another level stronger. And here's something powerful. Confidence built on achievements alone is fragile because achievements come and go. Businesses rise and fall. Careers have highs and lows, applause fades. But confidence built on resilience, on the knowledge that no matter what happens, you will figure it out and keep going. This kind of confidence can survive anything. When you train your mind to believe, "I can handle whatever comes," you stop fearing the future because you trust your ability to adapt, to learn, to rise after every fall. Confidence is also contagious. When you carry yourself with quiet strength, people sense it. They feel drawn to your certainty, inspired by your courage, encouraged by your energy. But that energy comes from the inside first. You cannot give it to others if you do not have it within yourself. And you cannot have it within yourself if you are constantly tearing yourself down, comparing yourself to everyone else, or waiting for the world to tell you you are enough. You build inner confidence by feeding your mind with courage instead of fear, with persistence instead of excuses, with faith instead of self-doubt. You build it by getting back up one more time than you fall, by speaking kindly to yourself when the world seems unkind, by refusing to let the voice of failure be louder than the voice of determination in your head. The habit of never giving up. The difference between people who dream and people who achieve is not luck, not talent, not even timing. It is the habit of never giving up. Success rarely comes from one big decision or one lucky break. It comes from showing up again and again, long after the excitement fades, long after the applause stops, long after the world thinks you should have quit. It is not a single moment of courage. It is a lifestyle of persistence. The habit of never giving up is built in the small, quiet choices you make every single day. It's in the moment you wake up tired but still chase your goals. It's in the moment you face rejection but keep knocking on doors. It's in the moment you fail publicly but still try again when no one is watching. Each time you refuse to quit, you train your mind to believe that giving up is simply not an option. It becomes part of who you are. This determination, this relentless spirit that keeps moving forward no matter what. Think about a seed planted in the ground. For weeks, sometimes months, there is no visible sign of growth. The soil looks empty. Nothing seems to be happening. But underneath, in the darkness, roots are spreading, foundations are being built, life is preparing to break through. If you stop watering the seed because you cannot see results right away, you kill the harvest before it has a chance to exist. Dreams work the same way. They need time. They need patience. They need you to keep showing up even when it feels pointless, even when the results are invisible, even when doubt whispers in your ear that maybe it will never happen. The habit of never giving up also transforms how you see failure and rejection. When persistence becomes part of your character, failure stops being a reason to quit and starts becoming a reason to try again differently. Rejection stops being personal and starts being a sign you are on the path to something better. You stop expecting the road to be easy and start expecting yourself to be stronger than the road. And here is the powerful part. When you refuse to give up, life eventually bends in your favor. Opportunities begin to appear. Skills begin to sharpen. Doors begin to open that were once closed. Most people never experience this because they quit too soon. They give up in the season of planting and never stay long enough to see the season of harvest. But those who hold on, who endure the waiting, the struggle, the silence, those are the ones who taste victory. The habit of never giving up does more than bring success. It shapes your character. It turns you into someone who cannot be easily broken, someone who learns to adapt, to fight to rise no matter how many times life tries to push you down. And that kind of strength will serve you in every area of life, in your career, your relationships, your personal growth, your dreams. Because once you learn to persist in one area, that mindset spreads into everything you do. So decide today that quitting is no longer part of your vocabulary. Decide that no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times you fall, no matter how many voices tell you it is impossible, you will keep moving forward. Because victory does not always go to the fastest, the smartest, or the most talented. More often than not, it goes to the one who simply refused to stop.